Welcome to this session on profit and loss. In this session, we will take a look at questions based on traders and consignments. So far, we have seen questions which are based on calculation of profits and losses on an individual basis. So we calculate the cost price of one item, then we calculated the selling price of one item, and we calculated profit or losses on that selling price and cost price of one item. In practice, however, many a times traders will buy consignments of goods. And when traders buy individual consignments, they'll calculate the profits and losses on these individual consignments. So, how do you calculate profits and losses on individual consignments? The process will be similar, except that in the consignment, the number of goods have to be factored in. For example, if in a consignment a trader buys n items, then what you will do is you will first calculate the cost of these n items, and then you will calculate the revenue earned on these items, and the difference between the revenue and the cost on these n items will be your profit or loss. Suppose the number of items is not given, as is the case in many questions which are based on this concept, then you could do by assuming n to be 100 or 1 or any other suitable number which will simplify your calculation. To understand this concept better, let us take a look at one question. So here is our question. A trader buys a consignment and marks his goods above the cost price by 50%. He then gives a discount of 20% for 50% of his goods and sells the rest at the marked price. What is the profit percent made by him? So you see here we have a typical consignment question and the number of goods is not given here. Therefore, we will assume that number of goods is equal to 100. Now, we need to calculate the cost of this particular 100 number of goods in this consignment, and we also need to calculate the revenue earned on the consignment. But another issue is the cost is also not known. So what we can do is we can once again, so let us assume the cost also to be as rupee 1. Now what we need to do is we need to calculate the cost on the entire consignment. So because we buy 100 items at 1 rupee, therefore cost is equal to 1 into 100, that is equal to 100 rupees. Now in order to calculate the revenue earned, all we need to do is we need to calculate the revenue on sale on these items. So we have 100 items and he said that the consignment is marked above the cost price by 50%. So if the cost price is 1 rupee, the marked price is equal to 1 plus 50% of 1, that is equal to 1.5 rupees. So this is your mark price. Then he gives a discount of 20% for 50% of his goods. So obviously we need to calculate the discounted selling price, and because the discount is 20%, the effective selling price is 1.5 rupees minus 20% of 1.5, that is 1.2 rupee. So now let us quickly jot that down. The trader sells 50% of his goods at a discount of 20%, that means at 1.2 rupees per unit. So 50% of 100 is 50 items at 1.2 rupees gives you 60 rupees, and the rest he sells at the marked price. So he gives a discount of 20% for 50% of his goods. So we've calculated that. And the remaining goods he is able to sell at his mark price. So 50 into 1.5 will give us 75 rupees. So what is the total revenue? The total revenue is 60 plus 75, that will give you 135 rupees. So for this particular trader, we have the revenue as 135 rupees and the cost as 100 rupees, I'm sorry. And therefore, the percentage profit that this person earns will be given by 135 minus 100 divided by 100 into 100, that should yield 35%. So this is a very simple way of calculating profits or losses for questions based on consignments. Let us take a look at another similar question. So we have a trader buys a consignment and marks up his goods by 40%. He sells the first 20% items at the mark price. 50% of the balance he sells at 10% discount and the rest he sells at cost price. Find his profit percent on the entire consignment. So let us try to solve this question. And as you will notice, once again, we do not have any cost price or we do not have the number of items. So let us assume the number of items as well as the cost price. So number of items is 100 and cost price is 1 rupee. So that should clearly give us the cost of purchase of this consignment. So the cost is equal to 100 rupees. Now once we've calculated the cost, all we need to do is we need to calculate the revenue based on our assumptions. So what is the information provided in the question? That the trader marks up his goods by 40%. So if the cost price is 1 rupee, then mark price must be equal to 1 plus 40% of 1, that is equal to 1.4 rupee. This is the base mark price. Then there are two selling prices. The first selling price is at a discount of 10%. So the first selling price is mark price, that is 1.4 minus 10% of 1.4, that should give you 1.26 rupees. So this is our first selling price, and the second selling price is actually equal to the cost price, and therefore we can straight away take it up as 1 rupee. So he sells his items in three different lots. First lot is 20%, second lot is 50% of the balance, and the third lot is whatever is remaining. So the first 20% is able to sell at the cost price. So 20% of the total number of 100 is 20. So he sells 20 items at the marked price, that is 1.4 rupees, and so he must get 28 rupees because of this. So what is the balance number of items? 100 minus 20 will give you 80, and 50% of the balance he sells at 10% discount. So out of this 80, 50%, that is 40 items he sells at 10% discounted price. So he must have sold that at 1.26 rupees, which should give you 50.4 rupees. So you have 40 items and 20 items, 60 items gone. So the number of items remaining is once again 40, and this he is able to sell at the cost price, and therefore he must have earned a revenue of 40 rupees. So what is the total revenue he must have got? 68 and 50, 118.4 rupees, and therefore his percentage profit would be 118.4 minus 100 divided by 100 into 100, that will yield us 18.4%. So with this we come to an end of our session. If you wish to watch more videos, please log on to www.pfindia.com. If you wish to ask a query or a doubt, you can write to us at studentservices@pfindia.com. And if you're watching this video on our website, please use the Ask a Doubt feature to raise your queries. Thank you very much.